Hi, third grade. So today, now that we've looked at the PSAs and we've made a PSA, part of EL is making sure that we share it with the world and try to make the world a better place. Our guiding question that we were focused on was, how do people convince others to take action to contribute to a better world? And so today you are going to start writing a letter. And normally, if we weren't in the situation we're in now, we would actually write a letter on a piece of paper and send it or hand it to the people who we were inviting. So our parents or some other people. But because we can't do that, we are going to email our letter. But first, we're going to write it in a document. And then we're going to type it in a document. And then later on in the week, we will copy and paste it into an email, and you will be sharing that with some people. So let me show you the example here. I'm going to see it on my document camera. So it says model invitational letter. You don't need to have that on yours, obviously, because it's not the model. Yours is going to be the real one. So when we write a letter, there are some certain parts that you are going to have to it. And today we're going to focus on two of the parts. But I'm just going to kind of go over this and show you the different parts and read it to you, and then we'll break it down to what we're working on today. So when you write a letter or an email, we're going to write the date so that someone, if we were writing a real letter, so that years from now somebody could find it and go, look at when they wrote it when they were in third grade. Isn't that cute? But we are going to write today's date as part of our email because that is part of a real letter. Then you have what we call the greeting. The greeting is the dear whoever and the comma. So we've written several thank you notes this year. So we've already sort of done some of these, but you'll notice that you have the capitals for the names, the capital and the D and the comma. And you need to be thinking about who you can invite to look at our PSAs. So it's obviously somebody who you know well, because you want them to, you're sharing your work with them, your classes work with them. So you want to be somebody who you know well, somebody who you think might benefit from seeing these PSAs. You also want to invite somebody you actually have the email address for, because that way you can actually send it when you are going to send them on Thursday. So think about who you might want. So I have an example of here, Dear Aunt Susie. And so I must think that Aunt Susie could use this information. And then I'll read you the letter and then we'll kind of break it down. So it says, did you know that on average, each person in North America uses 550 liters of water every day? But in other parts of the world, people only use 140, 70, or even as little as 10 liters of water a day. Millions of people do not have access to enough fresh water. Please click on the attached link to Flipgrid to learn more about this important issue. So there we go, my friends. We have you probably think that looks familiar. Yes, because I took most of that paragraph from my essay. Now, if you did a different topic for your PSA, you might have to hook your letter reader with a slightly different fact than you might have put in your essay. But in a minute, I'm going to show you how you can just steal this from your essay and put it in without having to retype everything. But then there's an added sentence you will have to type. Please click on the attached link. We're not going to talk about that yet. We'll talk about that later later when we actually need to put that in there. In my PSA, public service announcement about, I put public service announcement in there in case the person who you're writing to doesn't know what a PSA is. In my PSA about access to water, I will tell you more about the problem and ways we can solve it. Other students also made PSAs on water issues that you can watch and learn from. So that paragraph is about what they're going to see without giving them all the details already. Then the last paragraph. I hope you enjoy watching our final project and seeing all the hard work and learning that took place. Hopefully, you will be inspired to contribute to making this a better world. So again, there you have your sort of the invite of please do this and help us out. Then we have what's called the closing. It's just sincerely or love, or depending on who you are, it could be your friend, Depends on what your relationship is to the person who you're sending it to. And then what we call the signature or your name. And you'll notice there's a comma there and a capital on those words there. So today we are going to focus on the date, and we're going to focus on the greeting, and we're going to focus on the first paragraph here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip over now to, I'm going to go to my Google here. So go to Chrome. I opened a new tab. I'm now going to go over and I'm going to, so you're going to do this too. You are going to go to Docs. You're going to make a blank document. And there you go. And I am going to name it. Okay, I'm going to name it PSA letter. Now, remember, you're not going to send them the document. We're going to do some copying and pasting into our email. So this is just so that I can find it later. So I can find it tomorrow when I'm adding some information. So because my PSA was identical to the information that I found in my PSA, I'm going to be able to use that information. So I am also going to have my essay on a different tab. So you can open a different tab and, go back to documents, and whatever you can search for whatever it was that you type, whatever the title was for your essay. Most of you are water opinion essay or something like that. Mine was clean water. So then it comes up, oh, I must have needed that one, and it'll open it'll open that essay for you. So first we're going to go, so again, I'm going to go back up to the PSA letter, and then we're going to hit, so now you're clicked on, you've got all your things ready. I'm going to hit tab. Oh, it's not going to let me hit tab. There we go. I'm going to hit tab until I reach about the 4. The 4 here is a little over. So right now this is 7 inches wide because a piece of paper is 8, and then we have some sides. So I'm going to go to about 4, and I'm going to put today's date. You're going to type in May 12th, 2020. There you go. And that's going to be in your letter. And then, so that's your date. You need to have that in your letter. And then, so I'm going to go back to, I want it to go, I don't want to tab it all the way. Oh, it's not going to let, oh, there we go. All right, so then I'm going to, I can skip a couple of lines, and then there we go. So then I'm going to have my greeting. So this is where I have my dear Grandma, dear Aunt Susie. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in there, dear Aunt Susie. Now you will notice that Aunt Susie is capitalized because that's her name. And if you could say dear Susie, it doesn't have to be dear Aunt Susie unless that's what you call her. And then there's going to be a comma. So the dear has a capital, the A, the S, and the comma. Then you're going to go ahead and start your first paragraph. Now the first paragraph, remember, consists of hooking the reader and telling the reader what it is that we are going to be telling, what the point of this is. So I'm going to go to my clean, safe water, and I am going to highlight the part where it says, did you know that on average, blah, 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 blah. And that's my sentence that hooked the reader, the 2 sentences, the reader, and the sentence about my issue. And I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to then go up here where it says edit, and I'm going to copy. I copy that, and then I'm going to go into my PSA, and right here, I'm going to go ahead and go back up to edit, and I'm going to hit paste, and poof. Now it's a lot bigger than the rest of my letter at the moment. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that still. Instead of 18, I'm going to put it down to my 11, which is the rest of my letter. You can make all of your letter a little bit bigger, but remember, we're not printing this out, we're emailing it, so you don't need it large. All right, so that's the first part. So easy peasy, I just copied the part that's going to hook and the part that's telling people what the problem is. Okay, so now I'm not quite done yet, because now I need another sentence. I need a sentence to tell them what it is I hope that they're going to do. So I'm going to say, please click on attached link to Flipgrid. Oh, Flipgrid is there. Flipgrid to learn more about this important issue. Okay, that's my first paragraph. Now, I know I say to please click on the attached link. We are going to attach a link when we get to the day that we're going to copy and paste this, because we will actually add the link to your letter. For right now, you do not need to do that, so you don't need to worry about that. So go ahead and get this part done on your assignment, and tomorrow we will continue with the rest of the letter and the closing. All right, so again, you need your date, and again, I mentioned about 4. Doesn't have to be exact, but that would work. Dear Aunt Susie, dear Grandma, dear, if it's one of your friends. Again, you need to have their email, and you need to think that maybe that they would enjoy watching this, and somebody who you think would be safe to watch all of your friends, and be kind. All right, there, my friends. Don't forget to title your document for later, because you're going to need to be able to find it later. All right, my friends, get working on that. You do not need to share that with me, because you're going to send me the email at the end of the week. So go ahead and make sure you don't bother sharing it. Just go ahead and hold on to it for yourself. All right. I will see your hard-working faces tomorrow.